The stage was silent, but the tension was thick in the air. As the lights dimmed, the audience at America's Got Talent leaned forward in anticipation. Everyone had seen thousands of auditions, but this one was about to be something no one would ever forget. Simon Cowell, known for his sharp criticism and high expectations, sat back in his chair, adjusting his gaze toward the stage. Next to him, Sofia Vergara whispered, "He looks so young, I hope he's ready." A spotlight turned on, revealing a thin Filipino boy, maybe 15 years old, standing nervously in the center of the massive AGT stage. His hands trembled as he held the microphone. The crowd could see the fear in his eyes, but also something deeper, determination. He took a shaky breath and said softly, "Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Cruz. I'm from the Philippines." The audience clapped warmly, cheering for him, but Simon remained quiet, watching closely. Joshua continued, "It's always been my dream to sing here. I grew up listening to Michael Jackson. His music, it helped me through the hardest times of my life." Simon leaned forward, intrigued. "Why Michael Jackson?" he asked. Joshua smiled shyly. "Because he taught me that even if you're small, even if you're poor, your voice can still change the world." That answer earned him a small smile from Simon, something rare even for the most talented contestants. The music started, a soft instrumental version of Earth Song. The audience gasped. It wasn't an easy song. It was emotional, demanding, and full of depth. Joshua closed his eyes, and as the first words left his mouth, the world seemed to stop. His voice wasn't just a copy of Michael Jackson, it carried pain, emotion, and a kind of purity that felt almost supernatural. "What about sunrise? What about rain?" His tone was soft yet strong, trembling with feeling. The judges exchanged looks of surprise. How could such a powerful sound come from someone so young? When the chorus hit, Joshua lifted his voice higher, pouring everything inside him into the song. The stage lights turned golden, and the big screen behind him showed images of forests, children, and the world's struggles, just like the original Earth Song video. Simon's usual poker face began to change. His eyes softened, his lips pressed together. He wasn't just watching a performance, he was feeling it. By the time Joshua reached the climax, "Did you ever stop to notice all the blood we've shed before?" The entire theater was on its feet. People were crying. Sophia covered her mouth. Heidi Klum wiped tears from her eyes. Then came that moment, the one that no one could have expected. As Joshua hit the final note, his voice cracked with emotion, and he fell to his knees. The music ended, leaving only silence. Then suddenly, boom, the golden confetti exploded. Simon Cowell had pressed the golden buzzer. The audience went wild. Joshua looked up in disbelief as golden lights rained down on him. His hands shook, and tears streamed down his face. Simon stood up, something he rarely did, and walked toward the stage. The crowd chanted Joshua's name. Simon reached the stage, looked at the boy, and said into the mic, "You just reminded the world what real music feels like." Joshua, overwhelmed, couldn't stop crying. "Thank you, sir, thank you so much." Simon smiled softly. "No, thank you. That was one of the most moving things I've ever heard on this stage." Backstage, Joshua's mother was sobbing uncontrollably, holding a small photo of her late husband. She whispered, "He did it, honey, our boy did it." The camera cut back to Joshua, still standing in the golden rain, holding his face in disbelief. The crowd's roar was deafening, but all he could hear was his heartbeat and his father's voice in his memory saying, "Keep singing, son. One day, the world will listen." The moment went viral instantly. Within hours, the video had millions of views online. People couldn't believe that such an incredible voice came from a teenager who once sang on the streets of Manila. But behind that magical moment was a story that few knew, a story of pain, poverty, and perseverance. Joshua grew up in a small town outside Manila. His family was poor, barely surviving on his father's income as a jeepney driver. His mother sold vegetables at the local market. But despite their struggles, they always had one thing, music. Every evening, when the sun set and the streets grew quiet, Joshua and his father would sit on the old balcony and listen to a worn-out cassette of Michael Jackson. The sound crackled, but to them, it was pure magic. His father would smile and say, "Michael sings from the soul, not the stage. That's what makes him great." Joshua would nod, absorbing every word. But life wasn't easy. When Joshua was 10, tragedy struck. His father died in a traffic accident on his way home from work. That night, everything changed. His mother was heartbroken. Bills piled up. Joshua wanted to help, but he was just a child. Still, he started singing on the streets of Manila, performing Michael Jackson songs to tourists for a few coins. At first, people laughed. They called him, the tiny Michael, mocking his size and shaky voice. But Joshua never stopped. He sang every night, barefoot, in the humid air, believing one day he would sing on a real stage. One evening, a foreigner visiting Manila filmed him singing, "Heal the World." The video quietly spread across social media, reaching millions. It caught the attention of an AGT producer, who sent an invitation for Joshua to audition. But there was one problem: they couldn't afford the flight. His mother pawned her wedding ring, their last valuable possession, to buy a one-way ticket to Los Angeles. She told him, "Don't worry about coming back, son. Just sing your heart out. The world will take care of the rest." Joshua carried those words with him as he stepped onto that massive AGT stage. Back in the present, after his golden buzzer moment, the world couldn't stop talking about him. News outlets called him, the Filipino angel voice. Celebrities reposted his audition clip. Fans flooded social media with love and admiration. In interviews, Joshua remained humble. "I didn't expect the golden buzzer," he said softly. "I just wanted to sing for my father." Cowell later revealed in an interview that he pressed the buzzer without hesitation. The kid's voice wasn't just beautiful, it was honest. You could feel every word he sang. As the live shows approached, Joshua felt the pressure building. He knew expectations were sky high, but he reminded himself, it's not about winning, it's about making people feel something. When the day of the semifinals arrived, he chose another Michael Jackson song, "Man in the Mirror." The audience erupted the moment they heard the opening chords. Dressed in a white suit, Joshua stood tall, his nerves barely visible now. He wasn't the same scared boy from the audition. This time, he owned the stage. "I'm gonna make a change, for once in my life." His voice was richer, deeper, filled with soul. Every lyric hit home, every emotion was real. He pointed toward the audience, making them part of his story. By the final verse, the crowd was singing along, tears glistening under the lights. And when he ended with, "If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change," the judges rose to their feet once again. Simon clapped slowly, smiling proudly. "You've become more than a singer," he said afterward. "You're an inspiration." Joshua advanced to the finals with a landslide of votes from fans all over the world. Filipino communities across America held watch parties, cheering for their hometown hero. Streets back in Manila filled with banners that said, "We believe in Joshua." For the finale, he took a huge risk. Instead of covering another Michael Jackson song, he performed an original, one he wrote himself called, "Voice of My Father." It was a hauntingly beautiful ballad about loss, love, and hope. As he sang, images of his father appeared on the screen behind him. The lyrics spoke directly to the man who had believed in him when no one else did. The audience cried openly. Simon wiped his eyes discreetly, pretending to adjust his jacket. When the last note ended, the crowd exploded. The performance became one of the most emotional moments in AGT history. As the lights dimmed, Simon took the microphone. "Joshua," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "I've judged hundreds of singers, but what you just did, that wasn't a performance. That was your heart. You've made the world fall in love with you." Joshua looked up at the sky and whispered, "This is for you, Dad." The results night came. Everyone held their breath as Terry Crews opened the envelope. The winner of America's Got Talent 2025 is Joshua Cruz. The room exploded with cheers. Confetti rained down again, golden and bright. Joshua's mother rushed to the stage, hugging him tightly. They both cried uncontrollably. Simon joined them and said softly, "You deserve every bit of this moment." Joshua could barely speak. "Thank you, everyone. I came here with nothing but a dream. Thank you for believing in me." After the show, his story spread like wildfire. News anchors across the world reported, "From the streets of Manila to the biggest stage on earth, a young Filipino singer conquers the world with his voice." He was invited to perform on major TV shows, met with producers, and received offers from international record labels. But even with all the fame, Joshua remained grounded. He returned to the Philippines months later, not as a star, but as a son. He visited the small graveyard where his father was buried. Placing the AGT trophy beside the tombstone, he whispered, "We did it, Dad." Tears streamed down his face as the sun set over Manila, painting the sky gold, just like the confetti that had fallen that unforgettable night. In interviews afterward, Simon Cowell reflected on the moment. "It's rare that a performance makes me emotional. But Joshua reminded me why I fell in love with music in the first place. It's not about perfection, it's about connection." Fans worldwide continued to share his story, calling it the most beautiful golden buzzer moment ever. Joshua's debut album, dedicated to his father, topped charts in dozens of countries. His song, "Voice of My Father," became an anthem for dreamers everywhere. In his first concert back home, thousands filled the stadium, waving lights and singing along. Before singing his final song, Joshua took the microphone and said, "To everyone who's ever felt invisible, remember, your voice matters. If a boy from the streets can sing for the world, so can you." He ended the night with, "Heal the World," the same song he once sang barefoot on the streets. But this time, the world was listening. As the lights faded and the crowd chanted his name, Joshua smiled through tears. He knew his father was watching, proud. And somewhere in the audience, Simon Cowell, who had flown secretly to attend the concert, smiled too. He whispered to Sophia beside him, "That's the power of music, and the magic of believing." The journey that began on the dusty streets of Manila had led Joshua Cruz to the biggest stages in the world. But, through it all, he never forgot where he came from or who taught him to sing. It wasn't just about the golden buzzer. It was about a voice that came from love, a song that came from the heart, and a dream that refused to die. And as millions watched his story unfold, one message shone brighter than all. No matter where you come from, your dreams are valid, and your voice can change the world. This is the story of Joshua Cruz, the Filipino who sang Michael Jackson, touched Simon Cowell's heart, and inspired the world.